we are going to make some cream puffs. You need to get your oven preheating right away, 425. We're not going to bake at 425, we're going to bake at 375, but the oven has to be really hot. So when you put your cream puffs in, you're going to lower the temperature, but the oven is still hot, so they'll rise quickly and then they can bake at the lower temperature. So we're going to get our things ready because we're going to be doing this on the stove, and you don't want to be walking away from it. So we're going to get our ingredients together first. So I have 1 cup of flour, 1 teaspoon of sugar, and a dash of salt. So I have that just all in 1 cup set aside. I have 1 cup of water. If your water is hot or boiling, it'll also make the process go a little bit quicker. And I have half a cup of margarine, or you can use butter. I have it on the stove already, just starting to melt. So we're going to work our way over to the stove to do the first part of our cream puffs. All right, so I've got my margarine, half a cup of margarine melted. I'm going to add in my 1 cup of water. You're going to bring this to a boil. So this will take a few minutes. I'll show you what that looks like once it's boiling. So you could walk away from this part here because we don't have any flour in that yet. So you want to just bring this to a boil. All right, so that came to a boil quite quickly. Now we're going to add in our 1 cup of flour, the 1 teaspoon of sugar, and the dash of salt. So you're going to get that in there, and then you want to stir this quickly to get it all incorporated. I just want to splatter. So you want to then you want to do it so that you get all that flour mixed in, and it all comes together in a ball. Turn off your temperature. All right. Now, we need to let this cool for about 5 minutes before we add the eggs. Otherwise, if you threw the eggs in right away, it would just cook the eggs. So we're now just going to set this aside and let this cool for 5 minutes. So my batter here has cooled for about 5 minutes, and I'm going to add my eggs, but one at a time. So I'm only going to get 1 egg in, and then you want to get that mixed in really well before we add in the next egg. It takes a little bit to get that egg incorporated in, so just be patient. It's a little bit slow at first. It's quite slimy, so it'll just fly out of the pan. But once it starts to get incorporated, you'll be able to tell because it kind of dries out a little bit, so the texture is now a bit drier, kind of like it was in the beginning. And now we'll add the next egg. And same thing, you just want to get each egg added in. It just takes a little bit. As you get the more eggs in, it takes a little bit longer each time because the dough is getting a little wetter after each addition. And we're going to add a 3rd egg. Oops, and things like that will happen. Very slippery. All right, so I'm just going to get these last couple eggs incorporated. It's just going to take a little longer with each egg, so I'll show you what that looks like when it's done. All right, so that's the 4th egg that I have in there, and the dough is a very nice consistency. It's a little bit of a workout to get that going. All right, so with cream puffs, you can do different sizes. I'm just going to use my 2-inch scoop, so it'll actually make quite a big cream puff. You can also put it in a piping bag and pipe out little logs. You just play with it, do what you like. The baking time doesn't change too much on the size because you just need to really bake that because I've got all that egg in there and it puffs up and it's very thin and it's just going to bake. So I don't think the time changes very much at all. So we're just going to put these on our cookie sheet. I've greased my cookie sheet and I'm going to put these on here because I want these ones to be the balls. And this makes about a dozen big ones. I'll let you know, I'll scoop these all up and I'll tell you how many I made. All right, so I have 12 puffs. I have a little bit of extra dough. I'll just make a few of them a little bit bigger. So my oven has been preheating at 425. As soon as I get this in the oven, I'm going to drop my oven temperature to 375. You'll need these to cook for about 30 minutes because you want them to be all puffed up and nice and golden. So we're gonna get this in the oven and then I'm gonna show you what that looks like after 30 minutes. All right, these are at the 30-minute mark. Looking beautiful. I think I'm gonna leave them in a little bit longer. I'm gonna give them a few more minutes. All right, the cream puffs are out, nice and golden. You will probably find as they cool that they'll start to flatten down a little bit, but that's because it's just a big air pocket in there, which we're gonna fill with whipping cream. So they might sink a little bit, but that's okay because we're gonna cut them open, fill them up, but we're gonna let these cool completely before we put the whipping cream in. Shouldn't take too long to cool because they are just very light and airy. So while that is cooling, we're gonna get the whipping cream ready. I'm gonna whip up 500 mils of whipping cream with about 2 tablespoons of sugar. And if you add about a tablespoon of instant vanilla pudding to the whipping cream while it's whipping, it helps keep your whipping cream a bit stiffer. Sometimes whipping cream can fall too quickly after you've had it for a day or two in the fridge. But by adding a little bit of instant vanilla pudding, or if you want, you could do chocolate to add a little bit of chocolate flavor. If you do that, it'll help keep the whipping cream firmer. So we're gonna get that all whipped up and then I'll show you how I assemble that all. Okay, so I'm assembling my cream puffs. Use a knife to gently open them and you'll just see it's all air in there. Nice big opening. You're gonna take your whipping cream and I think this is my 2 1/4 inch scoop. I just leave part of my cream puff attached so that it holds together nice. And then you're just gonna close that up gently. And then you're gonna melt. I have 2 squares of semi-sweet chocolate. And I added a little bit of margarine to it. And I melted those in the microwave. And I'm just gonna put it in a little Ziploc bag so that I can drizzle this on top for decoration. If you put that in a cup, it just makes it so much easier to hold your bag. Cut off the little tip at the end. And you're gonna just drizzle some chocolate on top of your cream puffs. Sometimes you'll get a little hard spot in there. Just pull that out. So give these cream puffs a try. You can freeze them. Just take them out to thaw before you're gonna serve them. Or just serve them fresh. So keep them in the fridge until you serve them, or you can freeze them and thaw them before you serve them. Give it a try. There's the recipe.